into it with this one right here. We got Ghostface600 late night. We got late night, and then especially from Ghostface to the late night. So one of the latest nights, like especially with Ghostface too, cause he's the main like recommended one too. Cause when it comes to his whole like style and the whole thing and his whole Brazil, he got it. Like he be having the whole thing coming. One of the latest nights to come into his whole moment. Everything goes to, and especially he be having a whole thing going on, like whole thing. Feels like especially the views and the pivots, like you really be peeping what he's what's actually going on. He be having a strange little thing happening, like everything. We got one of the latest nights, especially from one of the faces.
Gang shit. Came up on a late night, yeah. I'm like, This bitch something to do. I'm like, yeah. Came back on a late night, looking me up and down like, yeah. Run them chains on the bitch like choo. I tell her take time, yeah. This bitch got a loose screw, yeah. And the dance my bunny like who's who. Converse me up and down like yeah. Run them chains on the bitch like choo. I tell her take time.
I like how he just has his whole thing, like he just has his own thing going on too, like his own style. You won't ever see his own coming into because he has his own little flow. Like he's the only person that I know that would come in with them just them real quick points. Like he got them major points and but everything else too just coming in too. Like he just be having a whole flow to it, especially with else just happening too. Like at just one moment, it's like everything else, especially how he just be moving in. He has the whole style, especially his lyrics too. Like his lyrics, he be having the main thing. Sit back.
Looking me up and down like yeah. Run them chains on the bitch like choo. I tell her take time, yeah. This bitch got a loose screw, yeah. And the dance my bunny like who's who. Conversation, yeah. I'm not waiting, yeah. Jumping.
Ooh, he said with no conversation, you know he ain't waiting and everything else. And then especially coming from the loose screws too. So you got the whole loose screws and everything else too. And like especially from everything else that's hitting too, like one thing at a time. Like, you late night and you ain't taking no loose screws and like especially when you coming from the whole thing like with everything else too. And then this one right here, it's like a jumpy one.
Waiting, yeah. Tell me location, yeah. Buying for these pagans, yeah. Doing the races, yeah. I'm on probation, yeah. You cannot change me, yeah. Nigga off this pain, yeah. Paracetamol, hope I see your pain and flaws. You're so dumb with locking doors. And if I need you better, babe, I say I'm filled with trauma. She's a gangster, that's all. Ain't fine corners, biting corners. She's my bunny riding on. Really believe that you can save me. Don't change, please. Yeah, babe, girl, I'm rolling. She tell me I'm soulless, I can't get enough of her. She's a psycho controlling, you know that I'm in love with her. Back it, slap it, burn them clothes, you saw in a jacket. Never.
Ooh, he said burn this, snap it, burn them clothes. It was ooh, especially his flows too. Like you would never see it coming into with the whole thing too. Like it just be so impassionate. Like he gonna pack it in, like packing and stuff like that. Like you would never know when it's packing. Interesting, because it's like it would just hit you 1 minute seconds, like and just memorable seconds, like.
Psycho controlling, you know that I'm in love with her. Back it, slap it, burn them clothes, you saw in a jacket. Never done trapping, she was on slapping. Stands to roll, we done that. For me, that's love. Come through inside the mall. For me, that's love. Come through and buy them back on a late night. Looking me up and down like yeah. Run them chains on the bitch like choo. I tell her take time.
Ooh, like we something about the change, from the change and everything else, or change. I don't know what the whole thing, what it was coming to too. Like especially the packing and everything else too. Like it just be, you just gotta go with it. Like especially this whole thing, like late nights. You doing all these tragedy things. You doing, all these other things. Like you got all these funner things going on too behind you too. So got to play games, you got the playground and everything else too. That's like really coming into it, and he just got the whole just thing going too. Like he, how it's moving and everything else.
For me, that's love. Come through inside the mall. For me, that's love. Come through and buy the mall. Came back on a late night. Looking me up and down like, yeah. Run them chains on the bitch like you. I tell her to take time. Yeah. This bitch got a loose screw. Yeah. And the dance my bunny like who's who. Conversation. Yeah. I'm not waiting. Yeah. Tell me location. Yeah. Buying for these paying. Yeah. Doing the races. Yeah. I'm on probation. Yeah. You cannot change me. Yeah. You gotta pay me. Yeah.
Ooh, his photo, he just rinsed that out like the whole thing and everything else. He just basically just rinsed it and everything else that just came into the like he said, especially with the late night, like with Ghostface 600 and his whole thing. So he got something else coming to it. Like how I see it and everything else too. He got a lot of like ghost and face, like just when it just comes to his whole style. Like he has his own ghost face thing going on, like especially with his whole thing too, because he has a lot of his music is be rinsing. He can actually rinse the whole lyric style and just put into all those moments and everything else too. But mainly from this one right here, make sure to definitely tune in with this one right here. From this